PickDogs.com here with the gang for Saturday, August 27th, 2022. Of course, it's my favorite day of the week during my favorite time of the year, college football Saturday. It's week 0, though. So, I don't know. Hopefully, we win more units than that. But I think I kind of, most of the time I shy away from the week 0 card. But this week, I actually like every game. It's been pretty hard just to narrow it down to a few. I like every single game on this card, except for maybe one. I think there's one game that's tougher than others. But the rest, I might bet every single game. I just might do it. Chris, how about you? You betting every single game or almost every single game, or you staying pat?
No, I had to really hold back. I was really liking today's college football card, and I shudder to think what's going to happen once week 1 actually rolls around and we start having a lot more teams in action. So definitely, but I really like today's card.
Well, Ron Romanelli with us from Gainesville. Of course, the Gators in action next week against the Utes of Utah. Should be an interesting game with Billy Napier taking over in Florida. Gotta say, sometimes those small-time head coaches are the guys that are kind of I don't really know, the inside. Ron probably knows better than me, how popular or not popular that pick was. I'm going to guess it was probably okay with some people and not popular with others. Florida probably thinking that they should get a bigger name than that. But, in Miami, we hired some guy named Jimmy Johnson that everybody was mad about. And, look what happened there. Certainly worked out. And then we got some guy named Dennis Erickson from, all the way out west that ran this offense that no one ever heard of called the one-back spread. And, nobody wanted this guy either. And, he had a bad reputation as being a heavy drinker. And, came in, won 2 national championships, lost 4 games over a 5-year period. And, of course, then he was fired because 2 of those games came in the same season, one in the national championship game, and he was shown the exit. Boy, times have changed, huh? So how's it going, Ron?
Yeah, I think, like you said, I think there's people on the fence about Napier signing. I think there's also a lot of people optimistic. I do think, I think it's going to be a tougher year overall for the Gators, but I do think Napier was the right choice. He's already established himself as a more a ground pound kind of coach, trusting the run game, and I think that's what the Gators have to do. They've got a good run game. They've got a good offensive line. Quarterback play, a little iffy, but I think if they get back to their old style of SEC football, they'll have success in a couple of years. But this year, probably a rebuilding year.
Well, he's done more with less. I think that's the thought process there. Of course, Jimmy Johnson recruited some guy named Barry Sanders to run the rock for him. That's a different story. But, Billy Napier, he had, Billy Napier, he has a long, he's won, and that's the whole thing. But he's never been given keys to the stretch limousine like this. He's never had players like this. He's never had speed like this. He's never had size like this, and he's never had a schedule like this either. So, a lot of challenges, but, I think it'll be interesting to see. And as down as I was on the Dan Mullen hire at Florida from day one, I criticized it day one. I was pretty much berated by most people who, thought that I was crazy and all this other stuff. And, but, I think the Napier hire is actually at least a reasonable hire. And if you do go wrong there, you're okay. It's way better. I like this hire for the Gators. I think you go back to all their hires and you say the best hire was Steve Spurrier, right? That was the one, right? That was the hire, right? And then you go to the bottom of the barrel, the Charlie Pell era or the Galen Hall or, of course, Ron Zook, Dan Mullen. There's a long list on that end of the spectrum. So very rare is there a coach at Florida who's either not here or here. Like Urban Meyer, Steve Spurrier, and everybody else, right? So we'll have to see if it's going to be give him hell Pell or if it's going to be go to hell Pell. Kind of didn't Pell have both those things? Did he run the table and also so they went 11-1, right? They were on probation the year in '84. I believe they ran the table, beat Miami, who won the national championship that year, and they complained like crazy that they had beaten the Canes. Of course, they were on probation, so they didn't get to do it. But Jovan, got college football. Jovan lives in the Northeast, in the Boston area, and the Northeast not really known as much as a college football place. It's kind of like it's a hockey town, it's a baseball town, it's the Patriots, the Celtics. But even when I lived in New York, it was never really like a college football town. It was kind of like Notre Dame and Syracuse. They kind of make those their teams. Maybe Rutgers is trying to become that team. But is there excitement today in Boston for the college football? Or is it just another day at the office here, baseball?
I mean, as a collective, absolutely not. But you have guys like me who are into college football, into all sports, for that matter. So yeah, it's gonna be excitement, with I guess pockets of people. But yeah, as a collective, nah, I wouldn't say that about this region of the country.
So are you excited for the games today? You got anything out there?
Absolutely. Hey, I love college football, So, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, me, I'm a sports junkie, so I'm here for it. But week 0 traditionally is only like a couple 3 games. There's actually 7 games, this year. So, more meat on the bone. That's how I see it.
So I lived in Boston when the Flutie game against Miami happened, and I happened to be at my friend's house who was a bookie, and he had a position on Boston College in that game, and we had a thing going, and it was like every time either team scored, you had to do a shot of tequila. So you can imagine that game was like so high scoring, and it being like we went through the entire bottle of tequila, just absolutely wasted.
Didn't it end like 30 in the high 30s? Both teams scoring over like
it might have been in the 50s. It might have been in the.
It was crazy.
Oh, it was. It might have been in. It might have been the 50s. That year, actually, Miami gave up in their last 4 games of the season over 50 points in every single game, and then the next year they gave up 18 yards a game rushing. It was like that was Jimmy Johnson's first year, and you could see Jerome Brown in that Flutie play as a freshman, having Flutie by the ankles when he makes the throw, and it's like this young freshman Jerome Brown, their NFL Hall of Famer, who had him. But yeah, after that that was the year that Frank Reich was at a game where Miami was up, I believe it was 49-0 at halftime and lost 52-49. It was either 39-0 and we lost 42-39, or it was 49-0 and we lost 52-49. It was the worst day because Frank Reich engineered that comeback, and then he also engineered the comeback, the Bills against the Oilers. So that's why the 2 biggest comebacks. At least that was on the right side.
I hated the Bills back then.
Oh, everyone did.
I hated back then. I swear to God.
Go to the Super Bowl, get absolutely slaughtered. It's like that one against the Cowboys. I can only imagine what the feeling is in the locker room. It's like you're losing to the Cowboys. What was the halftime? I'm going to Google this. What was the halftime score? What was the score of the first Bills-Cowboys Super Bowl? Because I remember specifically thinking, like, what are these guys even thinking at halftime? Because that was the first halftime where they really had the big time entertainment, and it was Michael Jackson who was playing, and it was just it had to have been the worst day of their life. I don't know. I can't find it. What was the score of the first Cowboys-Bills Super Bowl? Bills, Redskins, Bills, Giants, Bills, Giants, Bills. Can't find it. But I know it was about 100-0. And does anyone know what it is? And now I'm stuck on it. It's like, here it is: Super Bowl winners throughout history, National Football League. man. And that was the Bills against the Cowboys.
28-10.
No. Oh, at halftime.
Yeah, halftime.
Halftime was 20.
52-17 final.
Yeah, it was slaughter. It was slaughter. And the top, was that the one? Was that the game where I ended up losing I've never won a Super Bowl square, and I had the right score, but Leon Don Beebe knocked the ball out of his hand. He was going in for my box, and it was like they knocked the ball out of his hand. I ended up losing. But anyways, Rod, welcome to the show. I know you're feeling a little under the weather today, but you still took the time to join us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm doing okay.
Last year you had a major college football season. You had a real strong one. So I know you're excited about today. How many plays do you have today out there?
Going a little light. I'm only going one. Sticking with my one play of the week that I had all week, and there were a couple more that I've been tempted to put in, but I was like, I'm going to go. Is
that one play that you're personally betting, or just one premium pick? I mean,
one premium play, but personally betting, I probably got 4 or 5.
Personally, you could be involved in a couple more games out there.
Definitely.
Everyone's smiling, not because we're laughing at you, because we're all in familiar territory.
Sticking with one premium, I probably got about.
I see these guys, right? Chris and I talk about this on the regular morning show, and I asked our audience exactly what this meant, the 5% play. I still don't understand what that means. But if the 5% play, right? There are days that if I played 5% of my bankroll, I'd have negative 45% left to work with, including in games, It's like... it's like what my wife would be like, what happened to what was this money you took out of the bank? I was like, well, I was betting 5% of my bankroll and all these other things. But so the 5% of the bankroll, okay, maybe you know this. Okay, so 5% of the bankroll, this is 5% of your starting bankroll for the day, or just a number, or it's 5% after you've made your first bet. Do we recalculate the 5% off that, or like after the the pick won or lost? So like say the pick actually wins, like these guys that give out this 5% bet, if their bet actually wins, which is rare, right? I mean, it's super rare, but when it does hit, right, it's like, so is the 5% off the new number, off the 100? Is it 5% off the 105%? Or is it just 5% of the original number? Or is what is this? When is this? It's 5% of what?
Of what? Right? Your original bankroll, or the new day go to another? Just like you said, another new day, 5%.
I don't. Al Ninos, you're a pot odds guy. How does this work?
My best guess is you go 5% with your starting bankroll, right, for that season.
The season or the day?
I would say season.
Well, what if it happens to be like Thursday afternoon, and and all of a sudden you see, I mean, who was pitching for the Cubs the other day? It was like, it was Marcus Stroman's pitching with the wind blowing out at Wrigley, and Paul Goldschmidt had the day off the day before. Like, what if you see something like that? And you just say, you know what? I just feel like betting, I don't know, 3 or 4 times. It's like, you can still do that? Or is that my wife calls that the extra money. Like when I put her on a budget one time, it was like she would go over her budget, and then there's the extra money, which is basically the money, right? It's like the bank account. It's like, where did you get? I was like, how'd you get this? Oh, the extra money. It's like, what? It's the whole idea of the budget,
I was gonna say, if you're a Twitter capper, and you go 100% on the season, then you can increase. And if you're going 100% on the season, you could probably increase a couple times throughout the season as well. But that's that. But
I'm just so confused by the 5% bet. I don't get it.
I like to rate all my plays the same when I put them out. But again, me myself, no, I definitely like if there's a play I like better, I'll definitely bet it more than other plays for sure.
Do you do 5%? You ever just say 5%, or you ever break out the calculator and say, well, I know it's an odd number, but it's 5%.
Depends who's asking. No, I don't know. I don't really really calculate it like that. No.
All right. I'm just trying to figure this out. I've been trying to figure this out for a long time. Very few people actually have answers on this thing. It's surprising. So I don't know. If someone has an answer out there, I would appreciate it. I personally don't get it. So I don't know. 5% of what is really the question. Anyways, we're going to go to our other format where basically each capper comes in. They're going to talk about, we don't have that many people with us, so we can go a game or 2 games or whatever the case may be. And we'll give everyone, 5 or 10 minutes to talk about whatever they want to talk about and all that kind of good stuff. So we're going to start it off with Chris Ruffalo. Then we're going to do, I think Al Nino said he had to go. Then Rod, who's deathly ill. Then we'll go, Jovan and Ron can do scissors, paper, rock and decide who wants to go. But anyways, and if anyone else shows up, well, they're welcome to join us as well. I know Jay Briggs wanted to be here. He's on the road, and I thought I was going to have a good internet connection. I don't even make a hotel reservation unless I know they have a good one. But all right, let's put on Chris Ruffalo. Chris, good morning. How's it going?
Morning. I think I'm starting to figure it out. What if 5%? Hear me out on this. What if 5%? Like, what if it's a random Sunday and Miami beats Auburn in March Madness by like 19 points? What does 5% become then? So
I tell this story all the time, right? I went to Vegas and I didn't go to the ATM. I didn't go to anything because I have an onshore bank account and they don't have the same bank in Hawaii. So I didn't have a chance to go to the bank yet, right? So I had $300 in my pocket. Ohio State was playing Iowa. I put $200 or $150 on Iowa on the money line. They were 22-point dogs, so I got plus 1,000 on the bet. So I ended up, which was 50% of my bankroll, right, at the time. And then I took that, and then I put 100% of the bankroll on the next bet, which was Miami against Virginia Tech. A couple of crap games later, I was $30,000 in on Miami Notre Dame, which was 100% of my bankroll once again. So it's like, wouldn't that 5% prevent you from the big win? I don't know. I don't know.
I think it's just for people who want to sort of be regimented and just sort of,
or it sound like they know what they're doing. You think they? You think because they're full of shit? You think that's part of it? I said the S word, sorry.
Well, potentially. I think worse things have ever been said on YouTube. But yeah, it's like one of those people that are just like, they just talk generic facts about something just to make it sound like they know what they're talking about. And then you ask them a specific question and they kind of deflect from it.
Yeah. I don't know. Brett Levine is super disrespectful. He doesn't want to hear your picks. He wants to know where Al McMorty is. Screw you for showing up, Chris. Let's talk about someone that's not. Let's talk about Al, who's probably still sleeping and is, will probably come on later on. But screw you, Chris. Brett Levine doesn't care what you have to say. He just wants to know where Al is. Anyways, what do you got today?
Well, for my game today, we're gonna go.
It's just so disrespectful, to talk about people that aren't here as opposed to people that are here working it. It's so disrespectful, man. I don't understand it. I never understood it. I still don't understand it. And you could buy Big Al's picks. Hopefully Big Al's coming. If he's not here today, he'll definitely be here tomorrow. And he's going to be doing our football show with us, with Jay Briggs. And he has his premium picks are there at the website for sure. I know he has his college football game of the month because we talked about it last week. It's the only day of college football in the month, and he's got his game of the month. Ironic. I mean, I love that bit.
It's not factually incorrect, but no. But for my game today, I'm going to go to the nightcap of the college football schedule. This one between Nevada, well, one of the nightcaps, I should say, between Nevada and New Mexico State. And, Nevada, a ton of turnover. This team was absolutely gutted, has one of the worst returning production rates in all of college football. And some of that has to do with Jay Norville, dashing for Colorado State. And now, Ken Wilson comes in, a familiar face, throughout Nevada football over the years. And he's vowed to change up the scheme for this Nevada offense, going from a pass-heavy team that had, Carson Strong last year, Romeo Dobbs as your top receiver, and now you're going to see a ton of run-heavy football from the Nevada Wolfpack. Toa Taua, one of the few returning pieces, and key returning pieces from Nevada's roster last year. I think it's just going to be a complete switch up for the Wolfpack. They're, like I said, very run heavy, very, possession oriented. And I think that's going to be the same thing here. On the other side, you're going to see a New Mexico State team that, yes, we've talked about Jerry Kill taking over the job there, but they still have a ton of turnover as well. It's going to take the time for those pieces to sort of gel together. And I just see this as a very sloppy game, a game that's played the majority between the 20s. And I don't see this one getting up over 48 where this total's currently at. I think this one struggles to get to 40 points, let alone 48. So give me the under 48 New Mexico State and Nevada.
I kind of like New Mexico State here with the points. I know that they haven't won in the underdog role in 2.5 years. 25 games in a row. They've been beaten as a dog, like a dog in a lot of those games too. I don't know, man. It's kind of it's one of those ones, and like you said, in Nevada, there's changes too. Nevada's had a lot of changes recently. Chris Alt was kind of was Nevada football. The pistol was invented at Nevada, and that's all they ran. Colin Kaepernick ran the pistol at Nevada. So I don't know. I guess this is one of those games I don't have a bet on, and as a fan, I'm rooting for Jerry Kill. But realistically, Nevada probably has more talent. But when we saw the guys come out last year, when Strong came out and stuff like that, they got backdoored a couple of times. Man, we made some good money on Nevada last year, didn't we? They had really good receivers. Any of those guys left over from last year as far as the receiving core?
Not the receiving.
Outstanding.
Not the receiving core. I know Nate Cox, one of the quarterbacks for Nevada, was there last year. He backed up Carson Strong, but he's had some off-field issues. So I don't know if he's going to be facing potentially a suspension today. I haven't confirmed that, but I know we talked about this game, I believe, yesterday. And Shane Illingworth, was a quarterback at Oklahoma State for a while. He came in. He didn't attend spring practices, so he's had a bit of a smaller time to really sort of get used to this system. And like I said, I just think with Ken Wilson taking over and him emphasizing sort of a run-first philosophy in Reno, I think this is, like I said, just going to be a very run-heavy game. A lot of clock chewed up, and I think this is a game where the first to 24 wins this game.
All right. Well, you got any other picks? Anything else you want to say for yourself while you're here?
Do you want me to do the whole dating profile? I enjoy long walks on the beach, sunsets, and betting against Tal Skeichel.
Could be. Well, what are you selling today at Pick Dogs?
Well, for me today, I got a couple things on the board. I got my $15 pick-off play. We were in it, nip and tuck yesterday, but the Cleveland Guardians just could not pull through. The baseball gods had other things in mind, but that just means we get to start a new streak today. Really like that play today. The play is also part of my Saturday Slam Major League 3-pack. It's going to go up very shortly. I also got a 5-pack of football today. My 4 best college football bets, as well as my best NFL preseason bet for $50. Pick Dogs Premium, or use that promo code OG15. You can use it for something long-term or a daily pass, but you're running out of time to use it, so make sure you take advantage of it.
Yeah, someone's saying if Al can't wake up on time, he's out. I don't think so. I think if you knew why he's sleeping, because he's up all night pouring through his database and getting ready for college football. Now with preseason winding down, it's got NFL he's working on. It's he probably is working on next week's college football as well. But anyways, Chris, thanks for joining us. We, of course, will see you tomorrow right here.
Absolutely. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
That brings up Rod Zawacki. We're going to switch it up because he's not feeling well. We'll have Al Ninos next. Rod, how's it going?
Mute myself. There we go.
We can't hear your phlemmy ass.
Yes.
What's up?
I had to unmute myself. Sorry, I wasn't ready for you to.
Yeah, I switched it up. I actually put you up by accident, and I didn't. It was too late to change it back. That's what happened. Disclaimer. But anyways, how's it going today? You ready for today's action? You said you have one college football pick. I know you've had that up for a while. I guess is it your game of the week or game of the month?
Game of the week. Well, I guess you could say it's the game of the month because it is the only one this month. But I've got it up as my game of the week. It's my absolute game of the week. One I absolutely love on today's board. There's a few that I actually do like. Other ones that I've leaned that I've bet myself personally, and I've also probably doubled or tripled that bet already.
Well, what would be one of those that you're betting personally?
Personally, one that I bet last season that ended off the last season was North Texas. I like North Texas here. I think they come in and beat up on UTEP. I think the way North Texas runs the ball, they're bringing back 4 linemen from last season, and they were 5th in the nation at rushing the ball, averaging over 233 yards a game, and returning 4 linemen again. I think that's what North Texas does. They love to pound the rock and run it, and I think they can do that against UTEP. I know UTEP. They traditionally they can pass the ball, and they're returning their starting quarterback as well. He's also returning 3 receivers that he's got to throw to. But North Texas, they're back 7 on D. They're returning those back 7 on D, and I think they cover those guys and make it really tough for UTEP to throw the ball here today. And I know North Texas on the D line, they had to rebuild because they lost the twins on the line there. They went to UCLA. For me in that one, but I think the rebuild there on the defensive line will be able to slow UTEP down, and I think North Texas gets a win. So that's another one that I'm in bonus play. Take North Texas.
You know that North Texas actually, and I think that's one of the hardest games on the board. But North Texas has covered 4 in a row in the favorite role, which they have moved into the favorite role in this game. They've also won outright 6 in a row, and when you have a light spread like that, So I think North Texas is a team a lot of people are looking past. Like you said, they switched to the run last year mid-season and were really tough to stop after they switched to a running team from being kind of that wide-open passing team. Meanwhile, UTEP is missing a couple pieces. I don't love their quarterback, but I don't think they're going to throw the ball either. I think both these teams are going to run all day. I don't know. It's going to be one of those. I could see it going either way. I think that's one of the tougher games on the board. That's one that I'm not betting. That's one of the games
I like the under in that one too, just because, just like I said, both running the ball, run. I like the under there too. There's another one. Take the under. North Texas and the under. I don't see a whole lot of high scoring in that one.
Well, that wasn't your pick that you had for the show, but we got we squoze a bonus out of you. I know your pick was in Major League Baseball today. 2 teams looking to make, well, one team in the playoffs, the other one looking to make it in, and another team that is on a red-hot streak in this situation that they're playing in, and that's the Orioles against the Astros.
Yep, you bet. And how can you get off these Orioles? They've just been rolling along, and you're going to give me a nice plus money price here as well. I know Dean Kramer, he's been 3-1 in his last 4 starts, have been these Orioles. Houston, they are 5-1 in Quiddy's last 6 starts. So we got a solid pitching match here between these two in this one. So I would lean an under, but for me, I'm going to take the Orioles. I can't pass up on this big plus money. And the Orioles have won 11 straight versus the AL West. So fire up that bandwagon. Let's continue to take the Orioles as they win a dozen straight against the AL West and beat up on Houston. I don't want to lay minus 170 or 180 with Urquidy. I don't trust Urquidy that much. I think he can get touched. And I think Baltimore can do it. We've seen them do it yesterday and get themselves a win. And I think they continue and get themselves a win here. You look at the Orioles, 11-2 their last 13 when their opponent scores 2 runs or less in the previous game. They're also 13-3 their last 16 versus the AL West. And like I said, 11 straight versus the AL West. Let's take it. They're also 4-0 their last 4 trips to Houston. So let's take the Orioles. Nice plus money there.
Yeah, we also, the Orioles also 9-0 as run line dogs against the AL West on top of all of that stuff. So even if you take the run line there, you're still at minus 150 range or even less than that. All reasonable, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because if they lose, I think they lose by 1. So, but I'm not going to wear the safety training wheel. I'm going to take the plus 150. I think they win it outright.
Well, what do you got for sale today? We know you got your college football game of the week, game of the month, and if you hit them both, then you could be undefeated this season. Your game of the week and game of the month.
Game of the month
and game of the week. Undefeated, 100%. I mean, I don't write up my write-ups like that, but you see those cappers like 100% angle, my game of the month. It's like you want to know. It's like
Three over pick premium pay. Yeah, I got that one. My college football game of the week 0. You can pick that up by itself over at Pick Premium, or I got a 5-pack today where that's included along with 2 NFLX plays and 2 MLB plays as well. So jump on board, grab that 5-pack. I think we're gonna have a great day in sports. Nice mixed bag. I'm excited about today's action.
Yeah, I think that I think it's a great card all the way around. It's very much back end loaded today, so it's like if you have stuff to do, get it all done in the morning, and then kick back and kick back with. I know I'll be loading up with coffee around for the 4:00 Eastern games, and just so I can
right, because that's when most of it starts.
So much action. It's like
yeah.
And this is like, I get into the thing with my wife as to why I should have 5 TVs on the living room wall, because the iPad and the computers, with the 4 TVs, I'm still short. I still need it.
You're still short. Yeah, that's still not.
Yeah, it's not cutting it.
You need a tic-tac-toe board where you got like 9 going across there.
The TV in the studio is actually on wheels, and I can wheel it out. To do that. I didn't even think about that, but I actually probably will end up doing that tonight.
Wheeling that one out to you.
She's not going to like that, but such is life. Anyways, all right, Rod. Well, we appreciate you joining us. We know that you're not feeling well, but we will hopefully see you tomorrow. And of course, we've got El Niños up next.
Thanks for having me, and see everybody tomorrow.
Well, let me get El Niños all set up and ready to go as we do this. Let's see. There he is. And Al, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Mitch. How's it going?
It's going. It's College Football Saturday. Everyone knows I'm absolutely stoked for it. So, what's the good word?
I'm excited. I'm sure you're even more excited. But yeah, I'm pretty pumped about the season. As I said, looking forward to it. New strategy, and like I said, college football growing on me every season. So looking forward. I got a few plays out there today, actually. So.
All right, we know that you're normally a pro guy.
4:00 games too. Yeah.
So it's like you're normally a pro guy, so it's big for you here.
Yeah, no, definitely still more of a pro guy, but definitely looking forward to these college seasons coming up.
Well, what do you got for everybody today as far as a free pick?
Going to be looking at the Guardians, getting their rematch against the Mariners here. Tougher pitching matchup on paper at first glance, at least. But when you dig a little deeper, Luis Castillo here getting the start for the Mariners. He's having a good season, but coming off a pretty rough outing here against the A's of all teams. So if the A's can get 4 runs off him in 5 innings, the Guardians at full strength sure can as well. I still think that Cleveland, again, if the Mariners were healthy, I think the Guardians still have the better lineup, although the Mariners putting a great season together themselves. No Ty France in the lineup for them today, though, and I think that might cost them a little bit here, at least offensively, and gives the Guardians a chance to win here. Zach Plesac, obviously not in his best form here, not the greatest starter for the Guardians, but I don't think he's that terrible either. He's coming off a pretty rough start himself, giving up 4 runs to the Tigers. So, again, not the best team there either. But, again, I think he might bounce back here against the Mariners and have a decent enough outing to give his team a chance to win. I think we have just plenty of value here on the Guardians. And also a couple other things are Ahmed Rosario and Jose Ramirez have hit Castillo pretty well in the past. So, expect them to have pretty good games too here today. Taking the Guardians on the money line.
Nice. I think that, for me, I think Castillo's just overbet at this point. He's a good pitcher. He's not a great pitcher. And I think, people are giving him odds and, in tough situations, like he's a great pitcher, an elite pitcher, and he certainly is not in that category. I thought that, he pitched really well the first couple games as a member of the Mariners. Now teams starting to settle in against him, and him settling in too. Some of the adrenaline wearing off. I think, he's a good pitcher. He's good. He's gonna be tough out there, but he's not DeGrom or something like that. So certainly beatable.
Yeah, I agree.
You got any other picks, or you got anything for sale today?
Just real quick, maybe another college football pick would be UNC to cover that massive spread. Again, a bit too big maybe to get on the premium side, but a lot of people missing for Florida A&M here, so I think they take advantage of that and get their season started off strong.
You think it would have made a difference if those guys were playing for Florida A&M? I mean, we see them every year. They play Miami, Florida, and Florida State. Like they rotate around against those teams, and they never really seem to hold up too well against any of them. We love their band, the Rattlers. Certainly, when it comes to the band, they're going to whip Carolina's ass. But on the field, I think they might be in some trouble.
Fortunately, they don't get too many points for that on the scoreboard. And I mean, we would have got a better number for sure, but again, I don't think. I mean, it was a pretty big line move, but again, for that many players missing, I don't know if they can adjust enough. So it should be a big win here.
All right. So what are you selling today?
As I said, I got a 3-pack. My alphabets are back with my best bet in each sport from the NFL, college football, and baseball. I got a 3-pack in baseball, 3-pack college football, and then just my NFL preseason play sold separately if you're just into that. So depending on what you're looking for, again, your best way to go if you want all the plays, definitely getting one of those long-term or 2-for-1 capper specials.
All right. Well, Al, thanks for joining us. We got Jovan next. Jovan, how's it going?
What's going on, Mitch?
I got your parlay posted late. Sorry about that. Jovan sends me the parlays. I send them over to the guys that post the videos, and it's like some days I got so much going on. It's like, I don't know. Because I turn my phone off at night. That's the problem. So normally I get my text through the computer. I don't know how I missed it, but we did get it up there today. So if you're looking for Jovan's parlay, it's out there. I think was Dallas Keuchel involved in that parlay at some point?
Oh, yes, he was.
So, all right.
The bum that is Dallas Keuchel.
Teaser. There's the teaser for the parlay. Well, we talked college football earlier in the show. We've got Major League Baseball as well going on today. I know you're locked and loaded on all of it. Week and a half away from NFL regular season. What do you got for us today?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about a preseason game. We're gonna go to Indianapolis where the Bucks are playing the Colts, and all signs are on point to us seeing a Tom Brady sighting where he, took a leave of absence. Only the legends could do that, I guess, So, yeah, he's back in the fold. He's probably going to get some playing time, knock the rust off a little bit, work probably on three series. I mean, that's just my estimation based on what happened last year in the same type of situation, dress rehearsal type of situation. Coach Tar Bowles, he did say that if you're not injured, then you're playing. So I can only take him at his word for that. And the same thing for Frank Wright. He said the same thing. So I believe the starters are going to play in this one, a few series, if not, the half. In that situation, I think the Bucks will have it, as far as halftime. But, look at a full game, and then the backups come into play, and it's a whole different situation. You have the backup for the Bucks, Kyle Trask, and he's not looking too good this preseason. So, I think a backdoor cover or outright win could be in order for the Colts in this situation. With the backups that they have, who I think are, all in all better than what Tampa Bay is going to put on the field. So I'm gonna take the Bucks. The line went down from 5.5 to 3. Now it looks like in some spots it's back up to 3.5. So take that for what it's worth. I'm not really a line moving guy. For the most part, some situations it has some weight to it. But yeah, I'm on the Colts.
Yeah, the Colts have never been really all that good to me, and Frank Reich especially. And as my wife said last year, most famously, when she was out walking the dog after the Colts Jets game, this is exactly what she said. This was her imitating me watching a Colts game.
That Colts, that fucking coach. I just knew we were going to win. It's going to be the worst beat I've ever had.
That's pretty much me watching a Colts game. Frank Reich, it's like he goes into the prevent. They did come up with the interception, though, in that game to get the cover and the win. So, I don't know. I trust him about as far as I could throw him. I think Todd Bowles is one of those guys who's a great coordinator, but as a head coach, he has come up short in all the opportunities that he's had. So, a little bit of chance for retribution here. He's got, certainly this is probably the best team he's ever been given. Certainly better than the team he had in Miami and Arizona, and I think he's with the Jets too, right?
Yeah, definitely with the Jets.
So this is the best team he's been given, but I don't know. This guy, it just seems he's one of those guys who's just like one of the best coordinators, and then he goes to become a head coach. It just hasn't worked out. But we've had other guys who haven't looked good from the coordinator role, the first chance of becoming a head coach, and then they later on down the road. Oh, Bill Belichick, one of them, right after that disaster in Cleveland. But anyways, what do you got for sale today?
I got a bunch of packages on for sale at the website. First things first, college football. Got a 3-pack there. Also have those individually sold. Then I have 2 baseball plays individually sold for $19.99. The 3-pack for college football, that's $39.99. And also have a 3-pack in week 3 of the preseason games for NFL. So, I know no individual plays off for that as of right now. So, got a lot on my plate for Saturday. Looking to run it up on the books.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. Of course, we will see you tomorrow as we'll have week 0. We'll be in the books. We'll be back to baseball, the last 2 NFL preseason games of the year, and then we'll be less than a week away from big time college football. We'll see you tomorrow.
Absolutely. I'll see you then.
We got Ron Romanelli up next. Big Al showed up in the green room. Ron was like, "Oh, come on, just put me next." But he didn't say anything. Actually, he didn't care one way or another. I was going to save him for last because I had a lot of questions for him. But anyways, Ron, welcome to the show.
Hey, Mitch, how you doing?
I'm doing great. College football, week 0, even, week 0, it's usually not a great week, week 0. And I think this is one of the better week 0s that we've had,
Yeah.
I mean, some people are saying, "Oh, week 0 is not as good this year." I think this is the best week 0 we've ever had.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to see the big name teams in week 0, but I think there's some games that not only have some value, but I think they're going to be fun to watch as well. I mean, there's some games that have potential bigger upsets. And I think overall, even the FBS versus FCS games, a couple of teams that may be a little nervous. I think Florida State obviously going to win the game, but I think it might be a little bit closer than what that spread suggests. So there should be some good games here week 0.
So how about this, the game that's in Dublin being a week 0 game? So instead of just traveling to Hawaii qualifying you for week 0, an international game now. And Is this the shape of things to come for college football with these international games, trying to make college football more of an international game? Because college football is not an international game. Well, the NFL is somewhat becoming an international game, while the NBA is a very international game, while NHL, very international game. Baseball, yes, right? World Baseball Classic, more popular in South America than Europe, but and Asia as well. But college football, not so much. It's not so much.
I mean, obviously, there's a lot of school pride, and That comes with being in the schools in America. But I think it's a step. I think they're going to roll with it. I think it is going to be the start of something new with college football, trying to go out internationally. But I don't know if it'll be as successful as they think. Let's just say that. I don't think a week 0 game in Dublin's really going to turn everything up with Nebraska and Northwestern. But we'll see what the future lies.
Yeah, going with Notre Dame, several times in Dublin,
Yeah.
was the approach that they went with before. But I think nobody sees Notre Dame as Irish except for Notre Dame themselves, and maybe the greater New York City area sees them as an actual Irish teammate just because their name is Irish. I doubt many of the players actually are. But the thing is you look at some of these other teams, and I think it's kind of like the cornfield game. We didn't even know that happened this year. I'm going to guess most people didn't know this game was in Dublin until yesterday, and and if it wasn't a week 0 game and kind of in this spot, I don't think anyone would even care or even know at all. So, that's part of it here. Also, Major League Baseball, we're in that time of the year. I looked at the division races this morning. In the wild card races, really 4 teams in each side now. It's down to about 4 teams on each side, maybe 5. It would take a big run by that 5th place team. It would take a collapse by one of the top 3, and even that chaser. The problem is the number of teams you have to jump, right? That's always the problem. So I've been a Philly hater, right, for a very long time, and usually because they have no heart or guts. But the thing is, this year's team, since the Girardi firing, has shown heart and guts. But even more importantly, what has separated them here from some of the chasers is they are winning the games they're supposed to win in these winnable spots. They drew the Reds and the Pirates here. They're taking care of business against the Reds and the Pirates. Meanwhile, the Brewers, what have they lost? 10 games to the Cubs this season?
Yeah. They've struggled against the weaker teams. They took care of business against the Pirates, but I mean, you can't lose a game, especially in extra innings, to the Cubs when you have the far better bullpen. So, but the Brewers' schedule, if you look at their next few series, it's definitely right in front of them. I mean, they've got the Cubs a couple more games this weekend. Then you got the Pittsburgh Pirates at home. You go to Arizona. You go to Coors Field. So below 500 teams there. You play the Giants at home. We know the Giants are struggling. The Reds at home. So you've got a bunch of under 500 teams right in front of you. That's your chance. If you don't get into the wild card spot, you're only 2.5 games out right now. If you're not there by the end of that Red Series, it's not going to happen, because then you got the Cardinals, the Yankees, the Mets, the Cardinals again. So this is the Brewers. These next few weeks are crucial for this team.
Do any of these wild card teams, except for the Atlanta Braves, have any chance to do anything? I don't see the Phillies winning a game in the postseason. I don't see it happening. I mean, I've let a lot of the Phillies things go, but I don't see one matchup. Like, you look at the playoff teams, and right, you look at not just the lineups that these guys have and how they're hitting going into the late season, but even starting rotation. I can't see a series where the Phillies would have an edge over any of the teams that are ahead of them. The Braves, the Mets, the Cardinals, the Dodgers. I don't see where they would have an edge in one game, in one matchup, against any of those teams. You think we got too many playoff teams?
Well, I do think that when you expand the playoffs, you're going to have some teams that just have no chance. I think the Phillies, it's important in a playoff series to have 3 trustworthy starting pitchers, and I really only think that Aaron Nola is that only trustworthy, and he can be inconsistent at times, but he's
going to have to go against DeGrom, or he's going to have to go against one of those Braves, have 4 guys that are all equal up there at top, right?
Especially when Soroka comes back. So, with the Mets have one of the better rotations. Even, that's why I worry about the Padres, is that, like, Joe Musgrove is struggling right now. Yu Darvish has been hit or miss. So, even though these guys are big on paper, if they're, you have to have 3 strong starters for every deep postseason run. You look at those teams; they've had 3 starters that they could roll out on 2 days, 3 days rest, and sometimes even out of the bullpen. We see guys like Kershaw and Bumgarner come out of the bullpen. So I just don't think the depth is there in the Phillies rotation right now.
How about Jake Odorizzi coming out of the bullpen? I think personally, I think you put him in like a Matt Moore spot. I think he's another guy like that he's at the point in his career. You use him the way the Rangers use Matt Moore, have him pitch the 8th inning like a setup guy, 7th inning, 8th inning. He can throw heat for 3 batters. I mean, Jake Odorizzi can still throw 155 miles an hour to 3 guys, you know? He can still
look at Colin McHugh, for example. He was struggling so much last year as a starter. Now he's been one of the top relievers for the Braves this season. He goes in and gets like 2 innings of work. So I definitely think that would be an option for the Braves, and it would only help one of the better bullpens already. They have a loaded bullpen, so not a bad decision for the playoffs. Actually.
Yeah, I just think that you know you could have an ultimate of the pitchers that are playing now. You could really put together like an all-time bullpen game. You know, if you like put Blake Snell with Odorizzi and a couple of these other guys. These guys, each of them would pitch an inning or 2. You know, it's like you'd be great. You know, but outside of that, it's like, oh boy, you know,
especially when you get rid of the new rule a couple of years ago where you have to face 3 batters. Pitchers like Odorizzi that can go deeper, and you know, you get rid of those lefty and righty specialists that only can get 1 batter. Guys like Odorizzi and McHugh could be valuable in that relief spot, getting 2 innings of work. So,
well, you can thank these are probably both before your time when this happened, but you could thank Lou Piniella and Tony La Russa for destroying the game in that way.
I know Piniella days, but
oh man, in Cincinnati, it was like, oh my God, it's like in La Russa, I mean, it was gruesome, you know, and Wilson Contreras for the mound visits. I mean, my God. I mean, you know, thankfully they put a limit on that. He would still be at the mound, you know.
I know.
All right. Well, what do you got for us today, Ron, as far as free picks?
Well, I was going to talk about that North Texas UTEP game, but we already mentioned it. Should I just talk about a different game?
You can if you like. It's your show.
It's my show, you say, huh? All right. Well, then I'm just going to talk about me. Now,
that's fine. I think actually a lot of our audience would like that, except for the guy who put up that comment the other day. Let me see if I can find it.
No.
So it is here. It says, "This is why I would like to watch your channel, because they make dumbass picks, especially you, Ron." And then the same guy says, "I like to watch your channel because I know they make dumbass picks, especially you, Mitch." So he can't make up his mind, but
it's all right. We'll get him. We'll get him to make that decision pretty soon. But I'll talk about that UTEP game. I know Rod was on the other side of where I'm leaning. I like UTEP here, plus the 2 points I'm now seeing. The line's been moving a little bit in the opposite direction, but I still like the home team here in UTEP. You know, they bring back Gavin Hardison, solid quarterback, 56% completion, above 3,000 passing yards. So they can move the ball through the air. They also bring back their starting running back from last season, Ronald Awad, and 5.3 yards per carry last year on the ground. So he didn't get a ton of attempts, but when he did, he was very efficient on the ground. And I think UTEP's going to be able to move the ball. On the other side, North Texas, we're used to seeing them as more of a pass-heavy offense, but last year that wasn't the case. They ran the ball about 55, 60 times per game, and they had success with that. But I do think you're going to see a completely different offense this year from North Texas. I do believe that they trust in Austin Ayun, although he didn't have the best numbers last year passing-wise. I do believe that he is their guy this season, and I think they're going to be opening up the passing game for him more often this year. But I just don't know if it's going to be successful in this game. UTEP has a very strong defense. We saw last year they held opponents to under 4 yards per carry overall in the season. Plenty of games where they held their opponents, even in Conference USA play, to under 300 yards total. So this is a strong defense. They return plenty of starters on both sides of the ball, 8 starters on defense. And when you look at the home team in this series, they have dominated against the spread. Even though UTEP overall hasn't played well in this series, they've been rebuilding for quite some time under Dimmel. But the home team is, I believe, 8-1 against the spread in the last 9 games in this series, including 6 straight covers. So with being a home game here, UTEP, I believe they have a sellout crowd in this, and this stadium gets big. I think it's 50,000 capacity. So should be a pretty intimidating environment for the North Texas offense. And I think UTEP takes it outright, but I'll take the 2 points just in case.
Well, UTEP goes to Norman, Oklahoma next week for Will Venable's first game as Oklahoma head coach and first home game as head coach of the Sooners as well. So if they can't get off to the win here, then could be an 0-2 start.
Oh yeah,
it could be. I'm not not gonna say that it will be. Some of the interesting trends surrounding this game is, North Texas has won outright 6 times in a row as favorites, and it is one of those light line games. They've covered the spread their last 4 as well. But I just thought this was one of the tougher games on the board. I just really did. I think both teams, can run the football. So
yeah, it should be close, but when you've got a game like that, I'd rather have the points with the home team.
Doesn't UTEP have like one of the best defensive ends in the country, like on that team? I believe they do.
Well, I'm not sure about in the country, but I think in the conference, definitely.
Well, if you're the best in the conference, you're one of the best in the country. Is the way that it generally works. Anyways, what do you got? Any other picks, or you want
to? No other picks. I mean, I was. This is like you were mentioning before. I was texting you yesterday. This is a type of card where I'd either go all in or just pass on the card altogether. I'm like I like the games, but I'm also kind of hesitant because it is week 0. So
yeah, I'm not.
I'm excited.
I'm all in.
He's all in. Push the chips in the middle for me.
Yeah, whatever. I'm all in. If I have to reload, I got to reload, but I'm all in. Anyways, what are you selling today at Pick Dogs?
Yep, I got my MLB Best Bet, Ron's Rundown MLB Best Bet. We won 4 of those in a row. Really doing well with those this season, so you can check that out. And for long-term subscribers, I've got my college football plays. I got 2 plays for week 0. One of those an FBS game, the other one an FCS game. But it's on ESPN, so still a pretty big game overall. So you can check out those packages on Pick Dogs Premium.
All right. Well, like I promised, I did not go into Rodriguez's contract situation. So just because the day of the working man, seeing a game for the Seattle Mariners live has left town. And don't even think about buying a hot dog or parking. Anyways, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you tomorrow or next week. Which one?
I believe tomorrow. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
All right. Got a full Major League Baseball card for you. So
alrighty.
We'll let me just find Big Al's thing here, and we will get him rolling next. All right, Ron, thanks for joining us. And
good luck, everybody.
We'll see you tomorrow. All right, last but not least, we got Big Al here. Someone asked for Big Al earlier. They said, where's Big Al? I said, he's probably still sleeping, but he might be here later. That was my answer. And then someone said, then there was other comments, and I said, well, I'm sure the people that have his picks would appreciate why he's sleeping. So we had some back and forth on it. You know how people are. It's like if you give them something for free, they want more.
Yeah. Well, I'm in Los Angeles. I have to sleep sometime, right? So.
Exactly. But it is week 0, of college football. I know you have one play out there, but is it a week, is it the first week and weeks of college football, do you sit back or do you say, we only have X amount of weeks to work with here in college football?
I mean, me. I mean, in week 8, I could have 14 plays on a Saturday. For me, and it's a pet peeve of mine. I call this week 1. I call next week. It'll be week 1 for those teams too. But for me, the first game of the season, I'll have very few plays this week or next week. Same thing really in the NFL. I usually wait till week 2 before I give out a lot of games. But there are certain situations I do look for in week 1. But
so in your Circa contest, do you let Scott do the picks for week 1, or do you guys?
No, I mean Scott's sort of like me in his approach to this. We both hate week 1. So we're, if we had our druthers, the Circa contest would start in week 2. So
that's really not a bad idea. They should do that.
Well, or what they should do is they should let you buy in, like after you torpedo week 1, they should let you buy in again in week 2.
Rebuy.
Yeah, it's but it is what it is. So it's just people notice it more for football because there's so few weeks. I actually in baseball, I kind of do the same thing. I think I passed the first 15 or 16 days of this current baseball season because I wanted to get some data. Again, it's 10% of the games. People.
I think college sports have gotten really, really difficult because of the transfers in and the transfers out. Just create a whole new dynamic here. Just mass exodus or mass, going the other way. I mean, look at USC, with just star players going in. It's not just guys that, the first time they had the transfer portal, it was guys that couldn't start or 5th-year seniors. Now it's like, you could be the starting All-American players. I mean, Georgia Tech, their star running back transferring to Alabama. You had the Pitt wide receiver, the award winner, right? The Bolitnikoff award winner transfers to USC. What, he wasn't going to get drafted high enough as the Bolitnikoff award winner from Pitt? Like, they haven't had, all world wide receivers in the NFL like Larry Fitzgerald or something. Wasn't good enough. I don't understand what the premise is and why you're allowed to do that when you've made a, I don't know. I guess the argument is if you're a student if you're a med student, you want to transfer, you can transfer, right?
Right.
But they don't accept all your credits. They might not take all your credits. That's the other side of it.
Yeah, so whole new world. Anyway, I tell you what, one of the games I want to talk about today, and I missed the early stuff, so I hope no one has talked about it. Has anyone talked about the Washington-Baltimore football game?
No one has talked about the Ravens-Commanders as the Ravens go to run the table once again in the preseason.
I mean, now that, they're, I mean, everyone knows they've won 22 in a row straight up. Going back even further, they're 25-4-1 their last 30 games, in their stretch where they've won 22 in a row. They're 18-2 ATS with, one game off the board and then, one push. But, here's a trivia question for you. They're favored by 6.5 points tonight at home against the, I'm going to call them the Redskins, I'm not allowed. How many times have they been favored by more than 6 points in this 30-game stretch?
Oh, I'm going to guess in preseason, not much.
Zero,
yeah.
So that's really the key for me in this game is, if you take a look at how Baltimore, even though they've gone 25-4-1 ATS their last 30, how would they have done if they were favored by 6.5 points in each of those 30 games? They would be 17-13. So that kind of just takes all the value out of the Ravens, or virtually all of the value out of it. And, you take a look at what Washington has done this year. They're 0-2, straight up in ATS. Baltimore's 2-0. Straight up in ATS. But when you take a look at how winless underdogs in the preseason do, if they're getting more than 3 points in the game, they're 70% ATS since 1983 if they're playing a team that's unbeaten straight up and unbeaten ATS as well. So that's really the situation here. It's just a value play, and I bow down my head to what Baltimore's done, but it's just too many points for a preseason game.
Would you put well, you don't parlay, but if you did, would you put money line Ravens in a parlay and still take the points going the other way, or you think the streak? I think today's the day.
I'm not betting against myself. I'm just going to take the 6.5 points. If I lose, I lose. But I mean, it's and again, it's a preseason game.
It's one of the last preseason games too. Thankfully.
Yeah, so anyway, I like the Commanders. I've got to try to get into these new nicknames. I like the Commanders plus the points.
The Commanders.
Stupidest name.
Yeah, they should have gone with Eskimos. I really like that.
There's a lot of names. They should have gone with anything but.
Yeah, Commanders is a cop out. But anything else you like today, or I know you have a college football game of the month.
Yeah, and I've got my NFL preseason game of the year as well. I decided to finally have a preseason game this season. It's my first one.
Preseason game of the year, college football game of the week, and game of the month. So if you hit that, then they'll have 100% angle next time.
That's right. There's a baseball situation I do like today. It's a bounce back for the Houston Astros after their shutout loss 2-0 yesterday to the Orioles. You've got Dean Kramer going up against Jose Urquidy, and Urquidy's just been great in his career. When Houston's been installed as a favorite with him on the mound, they're 31-13, so that bodes well. Houston also does exceptionally well off shutout losses, 6-1 this year, 13-5 the last 3 years. And then when you take a look at how Kramer has done, when the Orioles are installed as an underdog of plus win 150 or more, the Orioles have gone 2-10 in his career. So I like Houston to bounce back today. Should see the price around minus 180. I think it's definitely worth laying.
Orioles 11-0 against the American League West and 9-0 as run line dogs.
And make that 11-1 and 9-1.
So you don't think they even cover the run line as dog? Either.
No, I think Houston blows the shit out of them today.
Well, what do you got for sale today? We know you got your college football 1-0. Oh, or your 100. It's 100% angle.
I've got my college football game of the month, or you could call it my college football game of the week. It's the only game in August. I've got my NFL preseason game of the year. Last year we cashed our NFL preseason game of the year on the Giants plus the points against the Browns. And I've got 2 baseball plays, 34 and 19. My last 53, we cashed the Padres last night. I've got a daytime winner in baseball and a nighttime winner.
And you can also get Al's weekly, yearly, season passes, all that kind of good stuff. You get all those picks, which is always the best deal.
Yeah, I've had a lot of success over the years. So I've won 22 of the past 30 years in college and pro football combined, won 22 of the past 30 years in NBA and college basketball combined. I've won the last 10 years in a row in the NFL alone. I had actually better year in college football last year than the NFL, but I won in both of them. So yeah, the best deal is just to join for 52 weeks and get everything I've got.
All right. Well, we've got a lot of good cappers today. No one's left in the green room, so we're going to wrap it up for today. Of course, we'll be back tomorrow, as we are every day at about 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And of course, next week here, next Saturday, we're going to have a lot of college football games to cover, and there'll still be baseball and everything else going on too. So thanks everyone for joining us. Make it a winning day. We appreciate each and every one of you.